I said it after the game. I'm like, it's just not good enough. Like, blow it up. Blow it up is like an extreme way of like looking at it. When I said blow it up, I mean like you've got to do something fairly drastic. I'm not saying that you have to remove this entire core. I'm not saying like you should convince Turner that he should be traded. I'm not saying blow it up to that degree. But I just think we're all at the point now where we understand that you can't run this current iteration back again. You've gotten diminishing returns year after year for 4 seasons now. Everyone's a year older. You can't do it. You have to come in with a different type of lineup and a little bit of a different feel. But here's the problem. Kyle Schwarber, he's like your primary power source. What do you have, 55 home runs? I mean, like 56 home runs. He's the power source on a team that too often this season lacked power. Like I know that they got to like whatever, 6-7 guys with double-digit home runs. Like whoop-de-doo. Like this team was not. You want a lineup that an opposing pitcher shows up and says like, damn, this is going to be a long night for me. And again, it's not a bad offense, but this isn't a scary offense. This is not a scary offense. This was not a scary lineup this season. It just wasn't. So you want to get rid of Kyle Schwarber? Okay, you could do that, but are you going to be better for it? Probably not. You want to get rid of Alec Bohm? Okay, but he's a useful hitter. Is he going to make your lineup better if you turn the page on Alec Bohm and you're not really going to get much back for him because you just want the money? It's not a slam dunk solution, right? Nick Castellanos. You want to get rid of Nick Castellanos? Yeah, I do too. I think it's time to turn the page from Nick Castellanos. I don't think he'll be back here. I would be stunned if he were back here.
I will say with 100% certainty now that we hear Rob will be back.
Yeah.
Nick will not be.
He's not going to be back. They knew he wasn't going to be back quite some time ago as well. And what's funny about that is that Nick Castellanos is one of the few guys that was able to produce a big-time hit in key spots late in games for this team in this series. And he wasn't bad against the Mets last postseason either. But you got to
or the Braves the year before that.
He's been a playoff performer at times for them, and he, I think we all agree that he was underwhelming. And if you look at some of the advanced metrics, was one of the least productive players or valuable players in the sport this season. But you're not going to get anything of consequence back for him, and you're probably, I would imagine, going to have to swallow 8-ish to get rid of him in a deal. So, you're going to probably pay 12 out of the 20 million that he's owed next year to go play for someone else. So that's not an obvious move where you just are instantly better. And then, by the way, JT Realmuto, he was very good in this series, and they don't have an alternative. And so do you want to shake that up? You want Rafael Marchand to start for you every game next year? You want to go out and sign some free agent catcher that's not the same player as JT Realmuto? I would assume that JT probably doesn't want to go out anywhere else at this point in his career. I think he's happy here. I would hope that the Phillies and JT Realmuto can meet in the middle, or maybe a little bit to the side of Realmuto's actual value, and where it's not nuts, but it's a fair deal. But that doesn't make you any different. What do you want? You want to get different in the rotation? Okay, sub out Ranger Suarez. He's gone. They're not going to pay him. Andrew Painter comes up. Does that make you better in year one in 2026? I don't know. Zach Wheeler's
you're also going to need another starter too, because Wheeler's not going to be ready until
Wheeler won't
late
be on
May
time.
at the earliest, right? So
is that starter Taijuan Walker?
Well, I mean, I think so. That's a great question. The question with Taijuan Walker is he now worth it to keep just as a depth guy, a guy who could start for you at the beginning of the year while you don't have Wheeler, and then when Wheeler comes back, you kind of yo-yo him around like you did already this year? Or do you try and move off that contract and say somebody will pay him, most of this, so we get some of that money back and then go get other guys?
If he were a free agent this winter, would someone pay him 1 year, $13 million?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, that's my point. That's what I'm saying. So, maybe you could trade him and get five. All right, we'll eat $5 million of it. You pay the rest. But do you do that knowing what your rotation situation is?
Right.
I mean, that's a great question.
So do I think that the Phillies make the playoffs right now? You said guess right now. Are Phillies a playoff team next season? I'd say yes. And
yes.
I think that they may win the division. Or if they don't win the division, I still think that they're going to win somewhere over 87 games and get themselves into the current playoff format. even with all the volatility and all the unknowns, right?
Yeah,
But
it's like picking the Phillies to make the playoffs, and a number of wins that they're going to have is like getting 62 out of the 64 or 66 out of the 68 NCAA basketball teams right. Like, X amount of things that are going to happen, and then there's like those one or two variables that can change things. Like, yes, they're going to.
They will be good enough to play the 162 format at a pace that gets them in. Are they going to be good enough to compete within the playoff format once they are in? And that's going to be the question.
Right.
So I ask all of these different questions, and they're sort of rhetorical, but I ask all of these questions to make the point that there is no real obvious solution in shaking it up. Like, we all want something different, but it can't just be for the sake of it being different. So, like, let me now ask you, is Alec Boehm here next season?
I don't think so.
Is Nick Castellanos here this next season? No. Is Kyle Schwarber here?
Yes.
Okay. I'm not as convinced about it. I'm not saying he's not, but I'm not like absolutely positive.
Well, let's put it this way. I'm saying yes because I think that is priority number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 for the Phillies. I think it is. They are so hell-bent on bringing him back that they will go over and above to do so. Now,
and that's scary because he stunk at the end of the year, and he stunk in the playoffs except for one night.
If Kyle Schwarber doesn't care about the dollars as much and is looking for a different opportunity to go to Chicago again or go home to Cincinnati because that's an up-and-coming team and maybe he could be the leader type there. If that's what he wants, then it doesn't matter any amount of money that the Phillies throw at him. It's not going to happen. So that's why I'm not 100% that he's coming back. I'd say I'm probably about 80% that he's coming back. Okay. I think he feels like there's unfinished business. The Phillies are desiring to bring him back. I think that the two things will ultimately come together.
Is JT Realmuto going to be back?
Yeah, but I'm not as confident on that one. I say yes, but I think that will ultimately, if Realmuto is going to have to be willing to take a shorter contract.
Yeah.
That's really, it's like, I think he's going to want 4 years, and I can't see the Phillies giving him 4. I'd prefer 2. I'd say 2 you do, hands down. 3, you have to make me think about it.
Okay. And then Suarez is gone, right?
I'm pretty sure of that, yes. I think that Boris is going to look for a big number for him, and he's going to highlight some really big game things out of Suarez. I mean, what he did in Game 3 alone, those 5 innings.
So all of this brings me back to where, like, if they don't bring back Schwarber, if they don't bring back Realmuto, like, then that creates money that you would have allocated elsewhere to new opportunities. But if they do come back and they want them back, like, let's work it. Like, we have to work under the presumption that they want both players back. And I think that everything that you say is what we perceive and presume to be true at this point. How do they really get better? Like, where do you see this getting better? And I want to bring up something that Ruben Amaro had said on WIP over the weekend, and you probably saw it. It was online. A lot of people reacted to it. And he said, it would not surprise me if the Phillies moved off of one of their big contracts this offseason. And, the obvious thought is that would include Castellanos' contract, but that almost feels like a given at this point. So was Ruben just kind of drumming up the social media interest, or is he alluding to something else?
I don't know what he's alluding to, because I'll tell you right now, there's no way Trey Turner or Bryce Harper go anywhere. And they're the big contracts, right? I mean, they're the big contracts. They're not going to trade. They're not going to dump off the starting pitching. That's the strength. That's the strength of this.
Is that Aaron Nola? You're going to trade?
Right. I mean, especially with the uncertainty around Wheeler, you're not looking to move off of Nola's contract. So I think he's suggesting Trey Turner. If you want my honest opinion, that's what I think he's suggesting. I don't see any way that happens. I just don't. And if I'm wrong,
let me follow that up. Would you move off of that deal if you could just get hey, we paid Trey Turner $90 million over the last 3 years. We have an opportunity to just even out, exit this contract. Would you do that right now?
It depends on what you're going to do in conjunction with that, right? Would I, if I could get equal or better return in other places?
He was very good defensively. He really improved his defensive game. He was the batting champion. Like, if you're going to do this, like, I will say, like, because I agree with you. I think that what Ruben Amaro, and I don't know, but I think what he was alluding to was Trey Turner as well. I do not know that to be true, though. This is it. Like, if you're going to get out of this deal, this is the year to do it. Like, this will probably be this might be your last chance to do it.
Yeah. So, yeah. I mean, that would be the only, but I don't know if, I don't think it's going to happen. Like,
so where does it put it better?
Let me throw it to you, Bob. Let me throw it to you. Like, what would you have to get back for Trey Turner to move that contract? And like, what is another team is going to take that deal with all that money left on the table, right, for another 8 years? Like, what are you getting back for Trey Turner? Like, that has to be part of the conversation. Yeah. And then even if the return is maybe slightly below what you would want, are you then replacing through free agency? Are you getting Kyle Tucker and Alex Bregman?
Well, right? You have to do this stuff. Like, all this stuff is tethered together because, like, by the way, if you move on and say Kyle Schwarber does want to go be a Red, or say JT Realmuto is hell-bent about getting that 4th year, and then you're exploring opportunities with Trey Turner. Well, what's the first baseman going to think about all that?
Yeah.
And I know you don't make deals to pacify the first baseman, but, like, I don't know. That doesn't seem like it would really jive well with what Bryce Harper would want.
We all know he's the assistant GM. I mean, right? I mean, that's not a big surprise.
So I think where I'm at, though, is like, okay, like, there's the obvious things that they can or they may elect to do or not do, whatever. So then how do they get better? Like, what are they going to do? Are they going to say, like, let's shop Brandon Marsh and that's going to make our team different? Are they going to?
No, I do think the entirety of the outfield will be different, starters wise. I think Brandon Marsh has a chance to stick as a platoon guy. So here's what I think it ultimately is. I think Justin Crawford is obviously a starter in the outfield next year. Whether it's in left or center remains to be seen. I tend to think it's going to be left field. I don't think that they feel like he's a major league center fielder defensively. But I think he's going to be a left fielder just like his dad was. And then I think Marsh kind of sticks as part of a platoon on the right side in right field with somebody else that you're going to bring in. And then they need to sign a center fielder. But I think that you're going to look at a whole new look to the outfield.
What are the chances that Harrison Bader is that guy?
Do I think that they would like to bring in Bader? I do, but I also think that Bader had such a great season and really a close to his season and made such a name for himself that I got to think that there's going to be big money out there for him. You're probably not going to spend.
Okay. Well, I
mean, for Harrison Bader.
Yeah. It just leaves a tremendous degree of uncertainty about what they're going to do. Like, I think everyone's at this point where they're knocking on the door. They're knocking on the door. How do they find a way to break it down? Well, we just went through all the player possibilities. You're bringing back your manager. We know that now. It's hard. It's hard. Like, I think what we're mostly going to get, I would love to sit here and say, like, they're obviously going to do something nuts this offseason. Like, it's just going to happen. We're going to get that alert. We're going to catch wind of something and we're going to go, wow, unbelievable. It feels like that's what has to happen. But when you pick it apart little by little, it's very hard to arrive at that.